Yay! We are live. We are live. We are live on a Monday. Thokozani, beloved tribe members, it is always such a privilege and an honor to come into a platform and hold space and have constructive, awakening, inspirational conversations on issues of African spirituality. And we have clearly seen the vastness of what being spiritual is. Last week, we spent the whole week really talking about, toxicity in relationships and mostly narcissism. Is it narcissism? Yes. Narcissistic personality disorder, and shared my own experiences. And we had Koko Tumisang as well coming in as a psychologist to give us some inputs on and what that is like and what it's like being in a relationship with somebody who suffers from that disorder. We also end of the week had some tribe members come through and come in to converse with us about their own lived experiences. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from that because a lot of the tribe members have been very grateful. They've even shared how my post of the last month on narcissism has really made them somewhat make peace with the broken pieces of being or coming out of that relationship, because I'm just not passionate about one-sided healing. Because I always say African spirituality and African healing doesn't only focus on ubungoma. Ubungoma, it's one ways in which we can heal the unhealed. It's one way in which we can bring together that which is broken, but there are other ways as well. And healers of African spirituality are not only Bangoma, because Bangoma are the ones who are called and gifted to heal, and they birth through Ingoma, meaning the music, the drumming, and the dancing. But there are many people who are called to Ubungoma to become healers. Not only IZangoma, there is herbalist, Amaketla, who understands very well the medicinal properties of the medicinal plants imiti that we use. We've got ability midwifery, so they understand and specialize in conception, in fertility, in birthing, in really tendering to the life in your womb. We've got surgeons, we've got so many. We even have African psychologists, so people who understand the psyche and the psychological well-being of a human being. It's just that over time, we've kind of grouped everything and put it into one, or we made everybody Isangoma, but not everybody is called to be Isangoma. And I think with my observation of what has been happening in our field of practice or community of practice is that the minute people are told they are gifted, everybody thinks they have to be Isangoma. And some people are still denying or resisting their gifts, and some people banehaba, banamawala, izulu sisho kanjalo, meaning they then wanna walk 10 steps ahead of their ancestors. And I'm saying this because I'm observing how we have become toxic as healers. And I say how we have because I can't say they're toxic and I'm not, because I feel like when I speak of one of our own, I'm also included, because we all rely on an ancestral realm. We all rely on the cosmos, not only the cosmos that are entities of our people, but they're also interconnected to other people, because in terms of spirituality there are no divisions, if that makes sense. So I just, somebody said to me, Kokomara, you need to speak about these fights and the battles between Abokobela when it comes to initiates, forms of initiation, types of initiation, the things that happens in Bandin. And for me, it's something that I want to first begin by helping us understand what it is or what it means being a healer. because a lot of us, we have come to be healers, because we need first to heal. And I feel we miss the mark of really understanding that healing requires your own healing, so you can then have capacity and abilities to then hold space, facilitate healing for other people. Because one who is a great healer is one that helps the other heal themselves. Because by so doing, then you are empowering people to do and find independence outside of you. It doesn't mean that by them finding independence, therefore, they can never come back to you, or they cannot, come get some support or get some guidance, but for me, it shows the deeper seated rooted problems. And you know me, tribe members, I love to say, let us look at things beyond the obvious. Let's not be cutting some dead fruit, but let's fix things at the root level, because I feel like there's a lot of bad roots in our work as healers. There's a lot that has went wrong. There's a lot of the wrongs that we've inherited historically, that when we come into healing, then we become that which we are trying to heal. We become that which we are trying to heal by becoming worse versions of that which was broken. You know, the amount of competitiveness in the field of our practice, the amount of toxicity, hatred, comparisons. I am better because I'm slaying more, because I know imiti better, because there is so much competitiveness and comparison that has left us even fragmented as a healing practice or a healing community, that even when we facing predicaments and pandemics, we cannot really come together and bring different tools and different methodologies that can help us facilitate the healing required. Because when we look at diseases and illnesses and ailments, they are complex in their nature, because when they come into the body, it becomes something else. Look at how people have died with COVID. Some people have died with COVID, while very healthy. Some people died because they had, comorbidities. Some people survived COVID because even though they had comorbidities, there is, it's not a straight line. Hey, snuff. It's not a straight line. So, and I feel like we are missing the mark, and we are unable to come to, to really find healing for some of the most complex diseases that maybe an intervention required is spiritual healing that can heal things at the root level. But how can we do that if, when we don't see eye to eye, we continue to poke at the other eye until it goes blind, until it bleeds, until we shame it, until we embarrass it, until we drag it down? It's very painful what we're doing. I think, for me as practitioners, I came into an understanding of that I am called to be a healer, because my understanding and definition of a healer is one that amends. It's one that makes well that which is not well. It's one that helps pull together. It's one that's a fixer, right? It's one that remedies. It's one that soothes. It's one that readdresses. It's one that shifts and change for the better. And that's my understanding of being a healer. Yet, what I'm seeing and experiencing is that we are not even living and embodying that for ourselves, because it is very troubling that we would go into public platforms and drag each other down. I've been there, and I'm sure they're still talking about me and saying things. I've when those experiences happen, I retract and I don't engage, because toxicity overwhelms me. It's poisonous, and poison kills, poison eats away life at something, poison destroys. So why would I want to engage myself with such? Why would I want to engage myself in something that's going to take life away from me? So when that happens, I choose to step back and ask myself, how have I attracted that experience? In asking myself, I've also learned, how is it hurting and paining me? Because by acknowledging that it hurts and it's painful and it's brutal, I can sit with that which is actually creating a fertile ground for me to attract those things. So I would ask myself, what is it that is happening or going on with me that has attracted such negativity or toxicity? Before I would do it by, either I'm ignoring or not engaging and moving on to the next thing. But one thing that I've learned, especially when I was dealing with my previous toxic relationships, is that they will continue coming forward until I heal that in me that has attracted them. So similarly, when everything comes up, whether it's an attack, whether ngiyathathwa, whether ngiyathuka, whether ngiyakritisizwa, I need to see, what is my response, what is my emotional charge when it comes to it. Some of them have become immune because I've come to a place of realizing and understanding my value, my worth, my power as a healer, that I do not need society to validate me. I don't need the world to validate me. I'm validated enough by the evidence that I get through the work that I do. And my evidence does not need to be publicized. My evidence does not need to come as public testimonials. And that is for me personally. When people give feedback, at the institute, we keep it within the institute, because for me that works for me. It works for me, and it validates me enough, right? But the biggest validation is my own life. When I see what happens to me and how I'm able to overcome those experiences through doing work with my ancestors, that's evident enough. That's enough. So the seeking of validation from the outside world, and it's chasing reputation, and reputation is perception, right? It's because for some people they say you are a reputable Sangoma, but how somebody experiences you might not be reputable, because to them reputation is dependent on their own principles, and how that unfolds is based on their own expectations, and my worth cannot really be determined by what people are expecting of me, you know I would appreciate tribe members. We can comment, but I'm going to ask that we reserve questions for now, and then eh, we, let me speak first. So I said I wanted to speak about the root cause of the problem. I think the root cause of the problem, we come from a history of divisiveness, divide and conquer. And we see it outplay itself not only ebungomeni, but we see it in the church spaces, and how it will be the Catholics against the Anglicans against the Lutherans, we see it, the Lutherans against the charismatic churches. We see it all the time, because it was always about domination and control and rule over the other. It was never an appreciation of the diversity of spirituality, because spirituality is about embracing diversity, because it understands that there are many paths that connect us to God. So similarly, there are many paths that connect us to our ancestors. There are many paths in which we can get initiated and become healers. But because we have already been fed that there has to be a winner, there has to be one that is better than the other, versus that somebody is better at what they do with what they have and what they're gifted with. And now we feel insufficient in ourselves, that we'll be chasing, and by chasing we want to chase everyone who seems like a threat, because now this that is which is mine, it's mine. But when you understand that it is truly yours, then you understand you've got no competition, because it means that there is none like you, right? So when we we became colonized, and other systems then of, oppression were created, or designed. It really separated us, not only by race, but also by ethnicity, and not only by ethnicity, but by also clan, and not only by clan, but by surnames. Do you understand what I'm saying? And now not only by surnames, but by gender, and not only by gender, but by class, and not only by class, by sexual orientation. Do you see the amount of divisiveness that has created? The diversity was not for one to be superior over the other, but the diversity was to show the expansiveness and the magnitude and the omnipresence of Creator in us. That sounded deep. That's what it was, because it was, if you look at nature and you see how diverse it is, how many species of trees we've got, of birds we've got, of cats we've got, because we don't only have lions, we have leopards, we have cheetahs, we've got panthers, we've got tigers. We don't only have lions as lions, but we've got white lions, we've got mixed colored lions. We don't only have just the we've got black leopards. So it's just so diverse for me, right? But one thing that our logical mind has failed us is that it has been, engraved in our psyche. For me, when we got colonized and we got separated, that we needed to compete against each other, because when you have somebody else, they're a threat versus seeing them as a gift, right? So we always are living under threat. So by living under threat, we need to eliminate that which is threatening either our livelihoods, our health, our this, because we've been programmed to be the best. We've been programmed to be the number one. We have cultivated the spirit of competitiveness so much that we don't see that in our competitiveness we are ingesting ourselves with poison in an attempt to try destroy other people, because we have been it's been engraved in us that there's not enough. It's only for the selected few. Even the calling itself is like, not everybody can be this, and that's so true. But if you are not that, then there's something that you've been set up for. If you're not gonna be a Sanusi, then you might just be a Kobela. And if you're not gonna be a Kobela, you might just be a healer. And if you're not gonna be a healer, a healed version of you by going through a pehlo, and it will make you a better person. Therefore, you'll be better in relationship with other people, because that's what you needed to go through ipehlo, so you can be a better version of yourself. Because going through ipehlo, your pehlo, so you're going through a rebirth, a shedding off, a dying, a letting go, a releasing, a washing away in Tlambulugo. But we don't experience those things because we are now actually going through processes for wrong intentions. We are going through things because everybody's going through them. You are going through things because it's become fashionable. We're going through things because you get more followers, that we actually become extremists in our behaviors and in what we are trying to do. We have become impressors, and by impressing, we continue need to feed the beast of being liked, being loved, being supported. So we have become multiple personality disorderly, because we have become everything else that can make us be seen as relevant, as important, as powerful, as trending, as popular, as known, as the other, but not ourselves, not ourselves. And when we're looking at the issues and the decaying of of our ways of doing things, and we're saying we are trying to be proudly sangomas, but proudly sangomas, do you even understand what it is to be a sangoma? We understand alentukuthi uyisangoma. Do you understand what are the principles and the ethical principles you need to carry yourself with? And it does not make you superhuman. It does not make you the only divine one, but it makes you integrable somewhat. Because integrity for me, it's important, because integrity is not about perfection, but integrity is about your ability to continuously self-reflect and work through your own flaws and learn from your mistakes. Integrity is the ability to say sorry when you've done somebody wrong. Integrity is to say, I'm at fault. It's acknowledging one's wrongs doing. Integrity for me is about knowing my limitations, to say I am limited. I am not gifted in healing abantwana abancane. I'm not gifted ukulapha inyoni or khutisa pokhwane. Integrity for me is to say I'm not strong kamdawu mina ngithwasa amakhosi. That's integrity, knowing your limitations. Integrity is also understanding that when you have failed somebody, to say, I have done my all, I can't, please go and seek help somewhere else, rather than saying no. Integrity is not blaming. Integrity is taking responsibility. I hope somebody's noting this quotes down, because we need to be reading this or reflecting on this and understanding. So the competitiveness and the comparison in our field of practice must come to an end, but it can never end, because why? Why can't it end now? Because some of us are so deeply wounded and we are unconscious of it. We went ephelweni and we fed our egos rather than killed them. We went ephelweni and we cultivated even worse versions of ourselves, because we refused to surrender. We refused to let go of the old versions of ourselves. We went ephelweni to prove points. We went ephelweni to make a point across. We didn't go ephelweni to go make ourselves well. Is somebody feeling me right now? We went ephelweni because we wanted to be like somebody else. We went ephelweni because we felt we can be Coco Scopas and Coco Orange and Coco Chepis, and we can be even better versions of us, of them. We went ephelweni because we were seeking to please and appease the flesh, not to heal. We went ephelweni not to be better, but we went ephelweni to create and cultivate more bitterness, because we had evil intentions. Intention cultivates everything. We went ephelweni not to go and be character built, but we went ephelweni to be ego built. You know? And when what we go ephelweni doesn't come right, we fail to step back and reflect and review. And yes, give to the owner what belongs to them. Give to your gobela that which your gobela deserves to be given. But take responsibility for your part in things, please. I think we gotta take responsibility, because the trend in how everybody just, when life goes wrong, I mean, like I said, the root cause. Look at South Africa, right? When things go wrong, it is the government. But when things go right, then an individual will take, will take the congratulations. When a soccer team fails, it is the coach. But when the soccer team wins, it is the player. Seeking to please and appease the flesh, not to heal. Please quote me on that. Tag me. Let's upload it. Because somebody's got to hear this tonight. Somebody's going to hear it. We are in the middle of pandemics. Not only COVID. Inequality. Racism. Sexism. Sexuality. Discrimination. So much disease is eating away at the life of us. And here we are, putting fire and petrol. I can't say these days it's all about the money, because money can never build you. Money can never give you a sense of peace and contentment. Money can never give certain things. It surely can enable a lot of things. It surely can enable you to live a better life. but it can never replace the void that you feel inside. It can never fill the emptiness that you are feeling. It can never heal that which is broken. There's a lot of people with a lot of money and they still are broken, evil, vicious people. And there's people with no money who are still vicious and evil. And there's people with a lot of money and they're the most kindest, humble people. We can never make it about money. Money is an energy. It's about how we use it. We can never look at this from one lens or one angle. It is complex. I'm sitting here not because I bring answers to you or I've got the solution, but one thing I know for sure is that the minute we can say, once wounded as a healer and not healed, you become a wounded healer versus a healer of the wounded. A lot of us are wounded healers trying to help the wounded. So what are we doing? We're actually creating more fractures. We're actually growing and expanding the wound. Look at the fights. People come to different impande asuke kwenye impande afika akhuluma omunye ugobela kabi, and the other gobela will be there sitting and adding, So my dearest beloved friend said to me, when people come to you with gossip, ask yourself, what value is that gonna add to my life? What value is that gonna add? So if uzongitshela ukuthi bani udivorce nobani, how is that gonna, yes, tell me that they divorced. Oh, okay, wow, I didn't know. Okay, that's sad. Or okay, it needed to happen. And then you go on about, yeah, what did they think how did they think they're gonna end up? Koko dino nomkhulu mkasha got back together. Sizobona baphelela laphi. That's toxic, man. Stop it. Stop it. How is that gonna better your life? You being bitter towards how I live my life. How is that gonna better your life? You being bitter how somebody else is doing their life. I said, if you don't add value, then I don't entertain you and I don't engage you. I don't follow you. I don't become your friend because you don't add value. So for me is when we have lost a sense of self-worth. We have stopped loving ourselves because you can't give what you don't have. And we've been saying this, and a lot of teachers and healers speak about, you can never give what you have. You can't give compliments if you have never complimented yourself. You can't give love if you have never experienced what it is like to love yourself. Hence I say many of us healers are wounded, are broken. Hence we brew toxicity, and we are the ones that cultivate hatred towards each other. So there is so much wrong that's going on in our society that you walk into a healer's ndomba to seek healing and you are fed poison because the healer is wounded and all they know is to offer woundedness, projection, manipulation, power domination. See what I'm saying? And for me, what makes a great healer is the one who's willing to acknowledge, and one who is willing to grow, and one who's willing to learn. Those three are key for me for one to say I'm a healer, or that should qualify you outside the skills that one needs to acquire in the petrol classroom. There are certain things that one needs to cultivate: the willingness to learn, the willingness to grow, the willingness to acknowledge limitations, the willingness. I'm not saying do it, I'm saying the willingness. And most of us are not willing. We are either victims or villains. And victims and villains are actually, the two sides of the same coin. So it's those things. We can't heal people. You can't heal people from a place of emptiness and brokenness. You are hurting people. You're destroying people. And the thing of, I don't know, I get shocked, when I hear how people can have double lives. I don't know. It's just like 1 minute you are green, the next minute you are completely a purple color to other people. or the minute Gokodino is the best thing that has ever happened in your life behind closed doors, and then you go out there and I'm the most horrible and evil. Like, what really is that? Because for me, it shows you are completely destroyed. How do you keep two lives? How do you keep two lives? How do you become this amazing person, and then you like, it's just difficult. You know, one thing I always used to say, that as much my heart is big and I get attracted to other people, and some I feel like maybe they're my third or fourth husband. One thing I don't have is I don't know how to cheat in a relationship. I have cheated before, definitely, but it's so difficult, so much admin, so much discomfort. I don't know how people cope. So for me, it's many of us as healers, we've got multiple personality disorders. And I've said this before. I've said we are not only suffering from mental issues because we're going through a spiritual awakening. We are suffering from mental issues because we are mentally unwell too. And hence a multiple approach, or multiple forms of healing are required. Because you should see the things we say to each other, how we swear at each other, how we throw, and then we've got our groups. And I mean, I've got my tribe here, and then my tribe wants to get into the ring and fight a battle that they might not even know. They were not there when it started. You know, when I go through things, I have my tribe. Coco, did you see? What do you want me to say? I'm like, what do you want to say? I'm like, why are you even entertaining it? If it's irritating you so much, unfollow the person. Stop engaging. Because it means there's a level of enjoyment or pleasure you are finding from that toxic person. You are here telling me, do I know that my former initiate is busy talking badly behind my back? Thank you for alerting me, because probably I wasn't aware, Guti, the person I trained who used to tell me and how they honored and worship the ground I walk on, now call me the biggest wish under the sun, said that about me. Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. But do you have to tell me all the time? Do you have to watch what they're doing and come back and report to me? Something in you is finding that attractive. Something in you is finding pleasure. Either you're finding pleasure in me hearing those things and seeing me be in distraught, or either you like the negativity too, because but like attracts like. You know what I'm saying? So for me, something is really not okay with us. I mean, we are under very challenging times as a human race. And when we are being called, we are not called to make things worse. We are called to make things better. But how do we make things better? By continuously perpetuating, putting petrol into the fire. How do we help when we come and use and utilize the platforms, but what we're cultivating is hatred? What we are cultivating is poisonous. What we are cultivating is it's unthinkable. How do you come into a platform and you say you're a healer, but you're destroying other people? Hoy scamp, you're throwing shade, but you're a healer. How do you just become that? You're here to heal. You're here to make better. You're here to amend. You're here to help fix. You're here to facilitate. But then how do you do that? And for me, it gets it gets this is what it's getting at, that most of us, or some of us, or a few of us, are not really called to heal other people. Watch for a red flag. How am I gonna find healing, but all I read about is how bad other people are, but you call yourself a healer? How are you gonna heal me? If you really are being critical and holding people to account, hold them to account. Because some of these people you're probably talking badly about, you know them and you had personal relationships with them. Why can't you say, hey man, Kokodino, so pumentlenen? Or I've had few people complain about your attitude. What's going on? That's truly for me. Because a healer is an amender. A healer helps fixes. A healer makes better. A healer moves us towards a place of better. A healer gives us hope. Where are we giving hope if we are pouring petrol into the fire? How are you giving hope if you are effing everybody else? Because for me, when you are very toxic, it's a clear sign of a cry for help. You are clearly needing help yourself. You are clearly needing healing self, because how do you hold space to heal other people with so much toxicity and viciousness and violent venom? You know? Yeah, but the thing is that when you fed information, assess if it's gossip, because everybody loves gossip. We all gossip once but the minute you take everything everybody says and you make it your own, and I'm learning that. I'm learning to take two sides of the story. I'm learning to not react but to respond. I'm learning to learn. I'm learning to learn from my mistakes. I'm learning I am not always right. I'm learning I'm not the only smartest Sangoma. I'm learning I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm in learning. And learning can only happen when we are willing to reflect. But we cannot reflect if we are not willing to be honest with ourselves about our limitations. Let's stop trying to be like everybody else and we run away from ourselves. So I'm asking also you as tribe members, because I know a lot of us follow different healers because they give us different lessons and teachings. Let's not go spread the hate. Please don't take me on somebody else's scam. Don't take me on somebody else's vent. Don't take me on somebody else's, unless that is something that is going to add value into the healing in our field of practice. Ungangithekeli izinto snacks. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Because how is that going to be helpful? Don't DM me about who is doing what. Did I see Gutubani, Segazwana, Nobani? My sister to me says to me, sis, if it doesn't change the weather, if it doesn't stop your life, just don't entertain it. So for me, it's that. For me, it's that. I think I would love to say to us as healers, let's take a step back. Let's reflect. Let's work on ourselves. Let's heal ourselves. Let's invest in our own wellness before we can want to offer other people wellness. Because we are clearly in the process and in an attempt to hold space, we are toxifying their spaces by our own poison. We cannot hold people hostage by having them sign up to our own vendettas. We are holding people hostage by having us sign up to our vendettas, because we'll say, good to know, if you still want to support Cocodineo, then, but you've never even met Cocodineo. You've never even been to my Ndumba. You've never came for a consultation. Believe your friend, surely. Support them, but don't join on the hatred movement and be in the bus without knowing where the journey is heading towards, because you might be hitting a dead end or falling into a ditch because you are trying to support a friend. Because for me, the minute somebody gives you an ultimatum, it's a red flag. I say you need to remember Uguti when somebody abalega epithlin, because by abalega bokok epithlin, because pehle is not for everyone, and it's hard. And I say, why do you still feel the need to be in conversation with somebody whom your relationship was formed on a purpose of together walking the journey of becoming healers? So when they've left the space and they've left Ipetlo or Impande and they went back to their old life, or they went to another Mpande, what is the purpose of your relation? And once you review the purpose of your relation, then that determines if that relation needs to continue or it needs to end. But it can never be guti you have to be an ultimatum. Guti either ubala empandeni or you go follow your friend to that empande. I don't understand it. But because when we are we're meeting and we become friends empandeni, it's because while sitwasa, the most of our conversation will be around the purpose at hand will be uktwasa, right? And it will be about hey ubaba man uyadina ubaba ustriti or umbonile ubaba kasiniki break. That would be the purpose. So if somebody leaves and says they don't want to be part of a space that's cultivating your purpose, what is then the value add in the relationship being had? Ask yourself those things. Then that determines if the relationship is still relevant or not. That determines if the relationship is relevant or not. And if you feel it is, then it is. You know? So for me, no, we've become so sensational that we are easily taken by emotions and we're so reactive. I know I've become reactive. I know when I get triggered and I react. And I'm learning, like I said, I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm learning to heal. I'm learning to be better. I'm learning to be more empathetic. I'm learning as a healer. I'm really learning as a healer. I said this on Facebook the other day. I said, when we are hitting difficult, complex issues that have created diseases and ailments, it's not a time to see who's doing what better. It's not a time to say my people want mpepopela, my people don't like red wine, my people bafuna umqombothi, my people basdala. It's to say to your people and say, my people, we gotta go and be with other people because the nation needs us. The nation needs us. We gotta come together in our diverse ways of doing things because then maybe a rainbow of a concussion might be created and formulated. That's what we gotta go to our people with. I understand. Guti, this is not the way I do things, but I'm being asked to partner up with this person. And can I do it? Because the mandate uguti so phahlela is South Africa. The mandate is kune corona bantu abadala mina ngathatha ikhathazo lena ngibonisa ukuthi ngalo bogogo nabomkhulu nganyanga a certain elements. Omunye aze nomhlonyane, omunye aze neblukom, omunye aze nempepho, omunye. Can we come together bogogo nabomkhulu? Not good to know ubanbani. Sometimes I do say no. I refuse going into spaces with people who have a huge contrast to how I do things. But in your path, everything we ask, let's ask our people. Because sometimes actually it's our egos that are refusing. It's not really our people. Sometimes it's our egos that are refusing, which I don't want to be seen in the same space as this person because they had me or they did this. But sometimes let's find ways, beloveds. This division and this divide and conquer thing has left us fragmented, has left us way behind. Yes, we have progressed because people can easily say Togoza Koko everywhere. There's songs made. Everybody, when they see IZangoma bazothi Togoza, even though not everybody's a Togoza, but it doesn't matter. Togoza just means Togozani, we rejoice. Rejoice. It's a positive, it's an affirmative word. Let's use it and let's not think ngoba ngiyithokoza nuqamaku mina ngumakhosi mina ngimsedi and I am better off. Man, guys, it's not working anymore. It's really not working. We are not moving where we need to have moved. We are not getting where we need to be getting with our field of practice. That's why sizohlezi sibizwa ngamagama, sithukwa sibizwa abathakathi, because we are so, it's about umponeng, me and my things and what I do. Right? And it's not about, because there's a book that a colleague of mine, Adam, wrote, and I still need to find it and read it. It speaks about collaborating with the enemy, bringing people who with very diverse backgrounds and different views to unite towards a common cause that they all have an interest in. And it's about how to work with people you don't see eye to eye with. Right? So for me, I feel like enough is enough. Kwanele. Guanele, the fights, the competition, the who is to my brand, my hey, it's enough, beautiful people. It's enough. We need to heal. We really need to heal, but we can never heal even our field of a community of practice. We cannot heal the nation as IZangoma because we are so divided, fragmented, full of hate, full of jealousy, full of all those things are eating away at the life of the beautiful gift our ancestors. They've called us because we are the change they saw. We are the ones who have to change the game. We're not only going to change it by slaying on Instagram. We're not going to change it by making our thing just beautiful. It needs to be our thing. We need healing at all levels. We really do need healing at all levels, tribe members. I believe we need to heal. I believe we need to also partner for ourselves to be better people. We need to really, and we need to understand that you are called because there's an ancestral pathology that is eating life away at you, your family system, and it's eating away your family system. I and Bagwandlands is my family system are part of a community of the area of Midrand. Midrand is part of Gauteng. Gauteng is part of South Africa. South Africa is part of Africa. Africa is part of the world. Do you see? So when I'm called to heal, it's so I can heal Bagwandlanzi, who are connected to Bagwaramalep. And when those healings, those systems heal, they then come out with an energy field of healed. So when you are healed, you carry less baggage. You carry less of that was eating life away at you. You know? So that's that. No one is better than the other. If somebody is doing what I see as wrong in the eyes of me and how I do things, but maybe what I need to acknowledge is that this is what they are called to do. That is their mandate, right? Can I just be like, that's my cup of tea, but can I not make it less because it's not rooibos? It's green tea and it's a little bit bitter and it's not palatable. And ngicela ukuthi nathi abadinga ukulashwa ey'ndumbeni zezangoma, let's stop becoming abomaphephandaba. Let's not get there and make it about other people. One of the principles I use when somebody comes to consult, you don't ask about other people on their behalf. If they need healing, they will book a consultation. That's one principle I apply. If it shows up, it is because it's important. But ungangibuzi. Don't ask me about your siblings. Yes, you might be worried, and I'll say to you, what is it you want to know about your siblings? Yeah, you see my brother or my sister. I'm like, that's very kind and caring of you, but you understand that they didn't ask for this consultation. So if I give you information, what are you going to do? If I say they need to do X and X, what are you going to do? Because that's my first point. Like, what are you going to do? Because they didn't ask to be healed. You are coming here to heal yourself. Carry you, do you better. And when you are better, they can say, hey, sis, how did you get there? Wow, your life has changed. That's empowering. What happened? What did you do? Be healed so that people can then ask you how you got there. Because we need to really stop going into Benginda Bazabantu and Gutibani and do that. If it comes up, it's because it is important and not that it's not going to come up about your partner. So even when people come and there's things I'm picking up about the partner, I'll say what is mostly needed to be said, and I'll say, please ask your partner to go consult or go somewhere else or come back, whatever that makes sense and works. But I do not want somebody to come and say to me they're fixing their marriage, but it's them. I get a marriage is made of two people, right? It's then you need to be able to come with the other part. Because I can't fix one broken part. It was two parts that came together that made a union, a marriage. So if I'm working with you, and then I can work with you if your partner doesn't sign up, but to make you a better version. And if that better version fixes your marriage automatically, we're grateful and we're thankful. But I'm not going to be working at your partner. I'm not going to give you muti to go do something to your partner. That's for me imposing. That's for me is, going against somebody else's will, because had they needed the healing, they would have showed up for it. They would have been present for it. Then they need to also have their say. So let's not go and do main. And yes, you come and you say, I had a bad experience, and this and this. Fair. Let me hear, let me listen. But angafagi usawute esilondeni. Because then it's like, oh, how I do things. I will ask you basic questions because ngukobela, and I do understand how ukuthwasa isinguni nesindawo nesixhosa nesprofito, what are the basic fundamentals that go into that process, irrespective of what embanded is. There are basic fundamentals that cuts across. There are certain things that underpins the fundamentals. There's certain things that are foundational. Because even in the medical field, there are certain things that are foundational. Whether you're going to be a psychologist, you might still need to understand anatomy. Whether you're going to be a general practitioner, there's still other things that govern. I'm not a medical practitioner, but I'm sure that's why they would get registered under an umbrella of some sort, because there's certain fundamentals that are they governed by. So when I'm asking you questions, if I know there are certain things, even though how we carry the processes might be different, that I will ask you. And I'm not asking because I'm trying to find fault in your kobela. And also, as healers, let's be really honest, because there's a lot of people who would come to me, but and I would check and I'm like, no, when it was koko. Yes, maybe bokshota is stock sweetie, guskwama sako, but your kobela has given you what they know, and that's enough. Now when Saba, practice patience. Now it's time for you to apply the tools you learned epichrane, because you're gonna end up becoming ATM IZangoma. Because there's a lot of us out there who are really ready and waiting to say bakropile. We like that thing. Bakropile, bakvalile. We like those things. So it is, we all can fix it. Not only Tina as abanyangayo. Nani enting wunyanga. You can also, it is up to all of us to heal so that we don't become wounded healers. It is all of us. We all need to heal. We all going through the most. We all are struggling. We all have our issues. We all have our limitations. We all need healing, because I'm going to save this life. And before I save it, let me remind the tribe members, I hope you have seen the poster. I've announced this when I came back in July to say we're going to be running a series of beautiful things as the Institute and as Kokodina. So we have that Healing the Divine Feminine. Look at my timeline. It is posted there. You can WhatsApp the number and say you are interested, and they will tell you. It's a full 2-hour session full of majestical healing. And the great news is that all the healing baths are facilitated by me. Yes. All the healing baths, they will be facilitated by me, of course, with support from the other gogos. Yes, so please look at that and you'll see there's different things. Enjoy your evening. You can give it to yourself, give it to a friend, give it to everybody else. But as always, massive love for you, massive love for your support, massive love for holding space, because you also hold space. This, I think, I'm gonna, reflections on, I don't know, my reflections on Ubungoma and, the toxicity that's happening. I'll see how I do this, but it's gonna be saved because I didn't bring people on board, and I always love to ask permission. And I guess with the Poppies Act, we need to ask people permission before we post and before we share things about them. Oh yes, my nails were darker, now they're lighter. Yes, they are color changing. It's a color changing nail polish. So when my hands become warmer, they become lighter, and when my hands are colder, they become darker. So it's color change. Thank you for noticing that. Great observation, Coco. Tozani.